All right, let's fire up those fryers and get ready to dig into some delicious food truck knowledge. Today, we're serving up a deep dive into pricing strategies.
That's right. We're going to figure out how to make sure your food truck is a money-making machine, whether you're just starting out or you're already a seasoned pro.
And to help us out, we're going to be breaking down this awesome video we found. It's got 7 core pricing strategies plus a secret bonus strategy that we'll get to later.
So, strategy number 1, cost plus pricing.
Okay, so cost plus pricing, what is that all about?
Well, it's all about calculating the cost of making each dish and then adding a markup on top of that.
Okay, that makes sense. So, like, if my ingredients for a taco cost $2, I add a markup, and that's my price.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
usually that markup is around 3 times the cost. So in your taco example, you might end up selling it for $6. Seems pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, it does sound pretty simple, but is it really that easy?
Well, not so fast. The thing is, cost plus pricing kind of forgets about a couple of really important things.
Like what?
Your competitors and what customers are willing to pay. So let's say you make this amazing gourmet burger, right? And it costs you like $3.50 to make. Using cost plus pricing, you might think, okay, 3 times the cost, I'll sell it for $10.50.
Right.
But hold on. What if all the other burger joints in your area are selling their burgers for like $8?
Oh, I see. So my fancy burger might be priced right out of the market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or what if people are just not willing to shell out more than $9 for a burger, no matter how amazing it is? You got to keep those things in mind.
So it's not as simple as just slapping a markup on everything. We need to consider the competition. Which brings us to strategy number 2, competitive pricing.
Exactly. You got to know what other food trucks in your area are charging for similar stuff.
Yeah.
But this isn't just about driving around and peeking at menus. You can get really strategic with it.
Oh, how so?
Like, check out online reviews, see what people are saying about prices on social media, even use those food delivery apps to see what the going rates are. Once you have all that intel, you can make some smart decisions about your own prices.
Okay, I'm liking this. So let's say everyone else is selling tacos for $3 each. Do we have to match that price? Or can we go lower to try and steal their customers?
You could totally try undercutting them, especially if you're confident you can make up the difference by selling more tacos.
Yeah, volume over margin.
Right. Or, here's another thought, if you're using like super high quality ingredients or you've got some unique twist on your tacos, you could actually charge a premium.
Okay, so if my tacos are made with like organic, locally sourced ingredients, people might be willing to pay an extra buck or two.
Exactly. People will pay for quality and for something special.
I'm starting to see how this all works. It's not just about matching the competition. It's about finding the right price for what you're offering.
Right. And remember, a pricing war can be bad news for everyone. If everyone keeps lowering their prices to try and win customers, everyone's profit margins could take a hit.
Makes sense. You don't want to race to the bottom. So we've talked about our costs and we've talked about the competition, but what about the customers themselves? I feel like their perception of value plays a huge role in what they're willing to pay, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that brings us to strategy number 3, value-based pricing. This one's all about flipping the script. Instead of starting with your costs, you start with the value you're giving to the customer.
I like the sound of that. Can you give me an example?
Let's say you're selling lobster rolls, right?
Right.
And your food truck is parked at like a prime location, maybe right by the beach or at a super popular food truck park. And you're not just slapping it together, you're using like top-notch ingredients and making it look all fancy.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting the picture.
So you're creating an experience, right? It's not just about the food itself, it's the whole package.
It's like, why do people pay $15 for a cocktail at a trendy bar when they could get the same booze for way cheaper at the liquor store?
Exactly. They're paying for the atmosphere, the service, the feeling of being somewhere special. And food trucks can totally create that same kind of vibe.
So even if my lobster roll costs $5 to make, I could potentially sell it for like 15 or even more because I'm offering more than just a sandwich.
Exactly. You're offering an experience, a feeling.
That's pretty powerful stuff. All right, let's move on to strategy number 4, bundle pricing. This one sounds familiar.
Oh yeah, this one's a classic. It's like your classic McDonald's combo meal, burger, fries, and a drink. The idea is to group items together and offer them at a slight discount.
So instead of selling my amazing burger for $8 and fries for $4, I could offer a burger and fries combo for $10.
You got it. And here's the cool part. The customer feels like they're getting a deal, even if they weren't planning on getting fries initially.
And we end up selling more food overall. It's a win-win. But why does this work so well?
It's all about psychology. People hate missing out on a good deal, so they're more likely to go for the bundle.
Makes sense. Speaking of psychology, let's talk about strategy number 5, psychological pricing.
All right, this one's all about using a few little tricks to make your prices seem more appealing to customers.
Yeah.
Like a little nudge towards buying.
But like those term prices I see everywhere, $9.99 instead of $10.
Bingo. Even though it's just a 1 cent difference, that $9.99 just looks way better to people. They see $9 in something rather than $10.
I know I fall for it all the time. What other sneaky tactics are there?
Oh, there's another good one called anchor pricing. That's where you put different price points next to each other to kind of influence people's choices.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does that work in a food truck setting?
So let's say you're selling burgers. You've got your basic burger for $12 and then a deluxe version with all the fancy toppings for $16. When you put those two options side by side, suddenly that $12 burger seems like a steal.
Because we've got that $16 burger as an anchor, making the $12 one look way more reasonable.
Exactly. And you see this everywhere. Coffee shops do it with their small, medium, and large sizes.
Just like they're reading our minds. Okay, what's next? What's strategy number 6?
Strategy number 6 is called tiered pricing. This is all about giving your customers some choices, but you're kind of subtly guiding them towards the option that makes you the most money.
All right, I'm all ears. Tell me how to do that.
Okay, picture this. You're selling tacos, right? And instead of just offering individual tacos, you create these tiers.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have a double trouble deal with 2 tacos for $8, a taco trio with 3 tacos for $12, and a taco fiesta with 4 tacos for $16.
So we're basically bundling different quantities of tacos together at different prices. What's the strategy behind this?
Well, most people are probably going to go for the taco trio, that middle option. It seems like the best value, and it's often the most profitable for you, the food truck owner. The double trouble might not be enough for most people, and the taco fiesta might seem like too much.
So we're giving people choices, but we're kind of nudging them towards the choice that's best for us.
Exactly. It's all about strategic decision-making. All right, ready for the final strategy?
Hit me with it. What's number 7?
All right, strategy number 7 is time-based pricing. This one's all about using changes in demand to your advantage.
You mean like surge pricing on Uber, where prices go up when demand is high? Can food trucks do that too?
You bet. It's the same principle. You adjust your prices based on the time of day or even the day of the week.
So like if I know I'm going to be slammed during the lunch rush, I could charge a bit more for my most popular items during those peak hours.
Got it. Let's say your chicken sandwich is a lunchtime favorite. You could sell it for $12 between 11 and 2 when everyone's hungry, and then drop the price to $10 after the rush dies down.
Smart move. We capitalize on that high demand, but we don't scare away customers who are looking for a deal later in the day.
Exactly. Okay, are you ready for the big reveal, the ultimate pricing secret?
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this. Lay it on me.
It's called the hybrid pricing formula. And the idea is to combine elements of all the strategies we've talked about to create, like, a custom-tailored pricing approach for your food truck.
Wait, so we don't have to just pick one strategy, we can mix and match them.
You got it. If you're just starting out, you might lean more on cost plus and competitive pricing to get a feel for things. But as you get more experience, you can start to incorporate value-based pricing, tiered pricing, even time-based pricing.
This is awesome. It's like we have this whole toolbox of pricing strategies, and we can use whichever ones work best for us.
Exactly. The hybrid pricing formula gives you the power to be really creative and strategic with your pricing. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. It's about finding the perfect blend of strategies for your unique situation.
My mind is officially blown. All right, so we've covered 7 core pricing strategies and this awesome hybrid pricing formula. What's next?
Well, now it's time to figure out how to actually put all this knowledge into action.
That's right. We're going to need some real-world examples and practical tips to help us make these strategies work for us.
And that's exactly what we're going to be diving into in the next part of our deep dive. So stay tuned, food truck fans, because the best is yet to come.
Don't touch that dial, folks. We'll be right back. Okay, so we've learned about all these awesome pricing strategies, but how do we actually use them? How do we put all this knowledge into action?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? It all starts with, understanding your own unique situation.
Okay, so things like what kind of food I'm selling, who my customers are, where my truck is parked, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So let's say you're like a gourmet grilled cheese kind of truck.
Mm.
You're using fancy ingredients. You're at a trendy food park. You're going for that whole experience.
Correct. Yeah.
In that case, value-based pricing might be your best bet. You're creating something special, and people are willing to pay a little more for that. But on the other hand, if you're parked near a college campus and your target market is hungry students, then maybe competitive pricing is the way to go. You got to keep those prices low to attract those budget-conscious customers.
So knowing your audience is super important.
Absolutely. It's all about finding the right strategy to match your brand, your menu, and who you're trying to reach.
And don't be afraid to experiment a little.
Oh, definitely. Try different things, see what works. You can tweak your prices, try different bundles, experiment with that time-based pricing we talked about. The food truck business is all about adapting and figuring out what works best for you.
It's like a real-time business experiment, right?
Exactly. And speaking of experiments, let's talk about, like, how do you know if your pricing strategy is working or if it needs some tweaking?
Oh, yeah, good point. What are some signs that maybe our prices are off?
Well, one big red flag is if you're constantly struggling to attract customers. If people are walking by your truck but not buying anything, that could mean your prices are just too high for what they're looking for.
Yeah, especially if there are other food trucks nearby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Customers are going to compare, right? They're going to ask themselves, is this taco really worth $5 when I can get a burrito for the same price down the street?
So, gotta be aware of what the competition is doing.
Right. And here's another thing to watch out for. Maybe you're selling out of food every day, which is great, but you're still struggling financially.
So we're selling a lot of food, but we're not actually making enough profit.
Exactly. You got to make sure your prices are high enough to cover all your costs, the food, the rent for your spot, your staff, all that. And of course, you need to actually make some money for yourselves too, right?
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot where everyone wins.
Exactly. Your customers are happy, your business is thriving, and you're doing what you love.
And don't forget, we're not just robots crunching numbers. We're passionate about food, right?
Exactly. It's about more than just the bottom line. It's about sharing your love of food with the world. And pricing is just one piece of that puzzle.
So it's not just about mastering pricing. It's about understanding how all the pieces of the business fit together.
Right. It's about the food, the service, the atmosphere, the marketing, everything. It's like all these different instruments in an orchestra. And they all have to be in tune to create a beautiful symphony.
Oh, I like that. A food truck symphony.
Yeah. And speaking of beautiful things, we're coming to the end of our deep dive. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, ready.
We've talked about all these great pricing strategies. But what about thinking outside the box? What if you combined them in new and interesting ways? Or even invented your own pricing strategies that we haven't even talked about?
Whoa, now that's an interesting idea.
Right. Instead of just doing what everyone else is doing, why not get creative? Think about your brand, your customers, your unique situation, and come up with something totally new and different.
I love it. So don't be afraid to break the rules.
Exactly. Be bold, be creative, and most importantly, have fun with it.
Well said. Okay, folks, that's it for this part of our deep dive. But don't go anywhere just yet, because in the next part, we're going to talk about all the other important factors that go into running a successful food truck.
It's going to be a good one. We'll see you there.
We've spent a lot of time talking about pricing, but, it's just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to running a successful food truck.
Oh, absolutely. It's like there's this whole ecosystem of things you got to think about. Location, marketing, your menu, customer service, it all kind of works together.
Yeah, it really is. It's like you can have the most amazing prices in the world, but if your food truck is parked in some random back alley and nobody can find you, well, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Exactly. Or imagine you've got this awesome spot and the food is amazing, but your menu is super confusing or your staff is rude. People aren't going to come back no matter how good your prices are.
Yeah, you got to think about the whole experience, right? From the moment somebody sees your truck to the moment they finish their last bite.
Absolutely. It's all connected.
Just kind of like conducting an orchestra. You need all the different instruments to be playing in harmony to make beautiful music.
Well, I like that. Yeah, it's not just about one thing. It's about how all the pieces work together.
So, food truck owners out there, listen up. Success is a team effort. You got to pay attention to all the details, not just the pricing.
And don't forget to have fun along the way, right? This is all about sharing your passion for food with people.
Yeah.
So let that passion shine through in everything you do.
Well said. All right, folks, that's it for our deep dive into food truck pricing strategies. Hopefully, you've learned a thing or two.
Yeah, hopefully you're feeling inspired to go out there and make your food truck dreams a reality.
And if you want even more info on this stuff, check out the show notes. We've got links to some great resources.
And don't forget to tune in next time for another deep dive into the world of food trucks.
Until then, keep on trucking.